Set for News Extra on Friday morning. Kevin Mooney across the way with that. It's brought to you here today by John Funeral. Here's Kevin.
Thank you, Steve, and good morning, everyone. Our guest today is Scottsbluff County Emergency Management Director Jerry Bretthauer, and we're going to talk about a number of things. First of all, welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming in.
Well, thank you for having me, Kevin. To start out here, there is no such thing as Scottsbluff County Emergency Management. We haven't called it that for approximately 3 years.
Okay, so what's the proper title?
The proper title is Region 22 Emergency Management, which is comprised of Scottsbluff and Banner counties.
Okay, all right, so I stand corrected. Thank you very much. All right, so let's, first thing we're going to talk about just briefly is tornadoes. So we've had tornadoes in Tuscaloosa, we've had them in Joplin, and you're here to remind people to take tornado warnings seriously, right?
Yes, when we get a tornado siren going, what we need to do is make sure that people, and I know it's nature for them to go outside and want to take a look and get their camera out and take a picture, but the whole idea behind the siren is that it's close enough that you need to go to shelter. You need to get into a basement area. If you don't have a basement in your home, then you need to have a friend or a relative or a neighbor who might have a basement and work out a plan with them so that you can have access to that basement. If you happen to be shopping uptown in Scottsbluff or Gearing and some of the smaller towns, there are shelters that are available to people that are from out of town or happen to be shopping uptown. And if anybody wants to know where all those shelters are, they can go to scottsbluffcounty.org on the internet, look up Region 22 Emergency Management, bring up the Scottsbluff County Local Emergency Operation Plan, go to Annex J, and all the shelters are listed in there. If by some reason they don't have time to get to a shelter, the best thing to do is, if you're in your home, is to try to get into your bathroom area, get into the tub, pull a mattress or some heavy blankets over you to protect yourself from flying debris. If you're out in a car, you need to get out of your car and get into a low-lying area. But also remember, you shouldn't be trying to get in culverts or places where you might have flash flooding, and then you're part of the problem again.
All right. Okay. The other thing we want to get to this morning, I'm sure most people want information on, is what the situation is with the river.
Well, we're expecting some more releases of water by June 1. Currently, the river is running at what we call 6,000 cubic feet per second. I think it's been upped because they shut off some irrigation ditches recently to about 6,780 cubic feet per second. We're expecting approximately 9,000, and I'm not a hydrologist. I'm just a guy that's repeating information I get. Your experts are Tom Hayden with the Nebraska Natural Resource District in Bridgeport. He's been handling the river from North Platte to the Wyoming border for probably 35 years. And he is in constant consultation with the Bureau of Reclamation's expert on this, whose name is John Lawson. And then if we start having problems with all this snow melt, additional rain up in the mountains, the temperature is raising to 45, 50 degrees, we start getting rain on top of the snow, it's going to cause that snow melt to come down faster, and that pack is way up in the, I don't remember the exact percentages, like
223% of average is what I heard.
Well, I heard 142% in one area and 127% in another area. But see, you hear all these different things, and the whole deal is that water has to be released into the dams, and there's only one dam that really has a flood pool, and that's Glendo. And we measure all of the stuff that we get by what comes out of Glendo and reaches the state line, plus whatever comes out of Laramie and reaches the state line. And then we look at how much cubic feet per second is coming out of the Tri-State Diversion Dam that's just east of Henry. That's where they start those predictions. And you really don't know what's going to happen to that water by the time it gets to us, because there's a lot of distance. Things can get some of it will be saturated into the ground, but right now our ground is so saturated it's almost free flowing. So what we're trying to do, or what they're trying to do, is let the water out as sensibly as possible without causing damage downstream. You also have to realize that all the water that goes around our area through the other irrigation ditches and stuff, that eventually a lot of that goes back into the river. So North Platte's going to get the full brunt of anything that comes out of the mountains. And they're really worried about North Platte.
Yeah. Okay, so bottom line is that we're probably going to have some kind of, at least we've already had minimum flooding, and we could have even worse if the situation, if we get warm temperatures very quickly, right?
Yeah, the Corps of Engineers was out here, and they estimate that if we get that 9,000, I asked them, what does that translate to at the gauges at Henry, the gauges at Mitchell, the gauge at Minutair? And they're saying you can see rises anywhere from 1/2 to 1.5 feet at the 9,000. But that does not mean that they might send more water down later if that snow melt continues and we continue to get rain and hail and all this other stuff that keeps adding to the flow of the North Platte River.
Are we ready if that happens? I mean, we've got a
We're
plan.
as ready as we can be. We have a in our local emergency operation plan, it tells us exactly what we're supposed to do for floods. For your information, we had a meeting a couple of days ago over at the City of Gearing Fire Department, and we had representatives from Scotts Bluff there, Gearing, and Terrytown, and what we did was we developed a pre-flood incident command system. We were identifying people who will be in charge of different things, and we're looking at up to 24-hour operational periods. We are as prepared as we can be, but always remember, nature can always pull a trick on us.
Yeah. Are we one of those so-called storm-ready counties?
Scotts Bluff County and Banner County are storm-ready counties.
Okay. I know there's only like 17 in the whole state or something.
Well,
like that.
we've been one for as long as I can remember, and we just got our new Scotts Bluff one last year, and Banner got theirs the year before that.
All right. Real quick, I know you want to talk briefly about Code Red, and we're running out of time here. Tell us
Okay.
about Code Red and what
Code
that
Red
does.
is a system that it's not really designed for us to give you a call about a tornado coming, because if I hear there's sirens out there, I don't have time to sit down and do a Code Red message real quick and send it out. When you should be looking for shelter at that time. What the Code Red is basically designed to do is if we have some floodwaters or something like that I know that are coming, I can notify everybody on the North Platte River. In fact, I set up a special map just for the North Platte River, and we did a test message about 2 days ago telling them how to be prepared for flooding. And the other thing Code Red does is if we ever have to do an evacuation, or we want you to shelter in place, or we want to give you information during the recovery process on maybe where to go to be a volunteer, where to go to find out information about lost loved ones, or to provide information to the public on safety, or where to go to seek shelter, all of that can be done on the Code Red. What Code Red does is it calls people when whatever geographic area that we decide to launch it into, and there's only 5 people allowed to launch it, and then they have some assistance. And what we do with the Code Red system is put out that information, and we do that by launching the message, and it will call your house. If the phone is answered, we consider you have been contacted. If nobody is contacted, or it doesn't go onto an answering machine, it will call up to 3 times repeatedly. And anybody that gets the message and doesn't hear it right away, they need to realize that there's a number there, 866-419-5000, that'll show up on any caller ID, and you can call that back and hear the message again.
All right. Okay, very good.
Enough?
That's good. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Jerry Bretthauer, the Region 22 Emergency Management Director. Okay, get that straight. All right, back to you, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, good deal.
Thank you.
Learn anything?